Saving game data in Godot can be done in a number of different ways, all with their own upsides and downsides, but we're here to see the easiest, fastest, most straightforward way of doing it. There's a couple of caveats to it which we'll discuss a little bit later on, but for now let's just dive right into it. We're going to make a script that's going to hold all of our save data. So let's make a new script, and it's going to be of type resource. And let's just call that something simple like player save data.gd. Create that. It extends resource. We can give it a class name. Let's call it player save data. Just makes it easy for other scripts to be able to instance or access this. And in here, we just give in all the variables that we care about. So let's make a var health, which is a maybe a float. Makes sense there. A var level, which would be an integer. Everything that you care about. And do make sure that everything that you want to save is marked as an export variable. Non-exported variables are just not gonna get saved. This is our player save data. Now I'm going to make one extra other script. And this will be our save handler. Doesn't really matter what type we make this as, just keep it as node, that is fine. And this is going to be a script that we want to be able to access always, everywhere, no matter what. So we can come up here into project, and then project settings, and go into our globals, and select a script to make global. And that will be our save handler. Now our save handler will be a global script, meaning that it's going to be persistent across the entire play session of the game. And the reason that I like doing this is because we can make a var for our player save. We can just make a player save data.new, and this will create a new resource for us. For now, we'll just make a function, which we'll call getSaveObject, and that will return our player save data type. And just return our player save variable. We'll make a super quick script that's just going to make this label print out the data from our save object. And in here we just make a function for process. We will make a variable new text, which will make a string, and make a new variable for the player save data, which is player save, which will be a type of player save data. And this one will be equal to our save handler, which is a global script, so we can just get it like this, dot get save object. And then I'm just going to very simply say our new text using our string player save dot health. And then we just set the text for this label to our new text. And that's going to do that every single frame. We can see 0, 0, and 0. That's cool, that makes sense. Now let's make a quick couple of buttons here. And now all of these can individually also access that same save object and write stuff to it. And that's the important part here. So I'm only going to show it off here with the HP for now, because everything else is just duplication of effort. And you probably want one script to manage all of these buttons together and that type of stuff. This is not about all that. So on pressed, we simply get the save handler dot get save game object, and then we can get this is the health button, right? So health will be plus equals, let's say 10. Something quick, easy, and simple like that. Our health button will now be increasing this by 10 every time. But when we restart the game, obviously that hasn't been saved yet. This is where the actual saving is gonna come in. So let's go back into our scripts and our save handler, because we're going to code that up in here. Let's make a function for save data, which is going to be a void function. And all that needs to do is it needs to take our resource saver dot save. Makes sense, right? And this takes in our save data, which in this case is just a full resource that gets saved. So that'll be our resource that we made up here, the player save. And a save path where it's going to get saved to. So you probably want to make a variable for save path, which is going to be a string. Generally, you put that in user :/ and that's just the directory that the operating system will dedicate to this game's install. Very much the same way that whenever you use a resource res:// is going to put it in this resource folder for when you're developing. The user folder is the same thing, but for the installed game. And then you just give it a name. Let's name this just save for now. And you've got the choice between .tres, which is kind of like a JSON looking file format, which is human readable, which is quite nice for things like debugging. If you wanted to save down to something faster, smaller, and just a binary format, you can use .res. And then we just give in that save path as the second thing here. And that's just going to take our resource, the object as a whole, and save it as a binary file to disk. It's really as easy as that. And then we also make a func load data, which is equally going to be of type void. And for that we need to do a couple things more. We first need to check, hey, does the save data actually exist at all? So we want to make an if statement for resource loader dot exists, and there we check, hey, does the save data on this particular save path even exist at all? If so, we move on, and else you probably want to print out a debug log thing or whatever. But we're going to just make a new variable here for our loaded resource, which will be of type player save data, and we'll use the resource loader dot load, and of course we also give in the save path for that. And then we very simply just set our player save to being that new loaded resource. So real quick, when we load data, it's going to check, hey, does the save path exist? If so, it's going to try to load that save path as a player save data. And then it's going to overwrite the player save data that we already have in this handler with the newly loaded one. And because everything else is just looking at this specific variable, this specific object that we have in here, the moment we replace this, everything is going to be sampling from the new loaded data. So now all we need to do is hook up these things to the save and load buttons, which again is going to be pretty easy to do. Just give them a quick little script for both of them. New script, save button, sure, we can deal with that. Just go into the signals, add onPressed. Again, probably should have an overarching script just managing all of this, but for now it's fine. We'll get the save handler dot save data, and that's all that this needs to do. Then on the load button, we just do something pretty much the same, but with load data. So we just slap on a script to this, load button, get the signal for pressed, and we just save handler dot load data. And that's pretty much all there is to the actual saving and loading. And now we can see, let's increase my HP to 60. I save it, I quit out of the game. Let's restart the game back up. I'll load it, and it jumps instantly back to 60. So now we have a way to save and load data. This is by far the easiest and most easy to oversee way to set it up, because you've just got one script that is essentially an object that holds all of your save data information. Now, I do feel the need to give one little disclaimer at the end here, which is important to be aware of, and that is that this is not entirely safe. Number one, if you save something as a trace, people can just edit the values themselves. Saving it as a res kind of solves that because it makes it a binary format. But what I mean with not save is you're saving an entire object, which means that you're also loading an entire object. And objects can hold, well, data, that's what we're using it for, but objects also can contain code. And that makes it doable for people to create save objects for your game with malicious code injected into it. Now, I don't think it's gonna matter. If you're watching this easiest way to save Godot data tutorial video, you're unlikely to be working on a game that's going to sell millions on Steam and have people looking online for cheat save datas and accidentally downloading something malicious. There are other solutions that you can use in Godot, things as simple as just making a JSON, or if you want to take it one step further, you can make a fully serialized save object instead. But that becomes a bit more complex to deal with as you go along. Might dive into that in a separate video in the future. And if you want to support this type of content and get access to all the project files for all of my tutorials, you can become a member here on YouTube or a Patreon. And thanks to my Cave students, tier supporters, Oigu and Earl Monseval Erno, and my Cave Digger tier supporters, Classic Crustaceo, the Joshimator, Mauricio Farias, and Cheng the Dude.